I grew up on Rottefella bindings. It's always been a natural choice.
To be the best, you have to have the best equipment.
As a top athlete, the quality of the binding is the most important.
I had my 20-year anniversary of telemark skiing. I decided to get my knuckles tattooed.
The Rottefella binding is a very important part of my life. It is.
Being there soon, close to 100 years now, it shows that the Rottefella has been able to change and adapt to whatever happened, and that's why we're still here. One of the first time he tested the binding, he actually met the Crown Prince of Norway, and he asked, "What are you using for bindings?" And he told him it's only a couple of old rat traps I mounted to the ski. And this is how the name Rottefella appeared and still is sticking with us.
It was invented in a time when many Norwegians started to ski as a leisure activity. They had done it before because they had to go to school or had to hunt and had to go to church and the neighbors, but they also started to ski in the 1920s and 30s to get away from work and to do it on Sundays, and it became a passion for many. And at that time, it was very important with good bindings, with good poles, with good skis. It was very fast known that Rottefella was better than the other bindings, so it started among the elite skiers and it spread down to the public in a very good way.
I love skiing. I loved skiing since I got my first skis when I was 3 years old. And I got the dream of the South Pole when I was 8 years old, when I started to read a book about Arnesen. My first expedition was crossing the Greenland ice cap in 1992. But my childhood dream was to ski to the South Pole. On my sole expedition to the South Pole, I used only one pair, because I also used that binding, for many years before, so nothing had happened to it. So I trusted that Rottefella had given me a good pair that I had tested. When I reached the South Pole, I was kind of touched. I think I had tears in my eyes, but also I was thinking, what now? Because I had this dream since I was 8 years old. So it's kind of very happy and a bit empty.
I had my first ever cross-country trip with these skis, and I used them on our area outside the house for the first time, and I was 3 years. I remember the first time I actually managed to put them on myself. That was really cool.
I have very good moments on Rottefella in my career. Many good years, actually, many medals. It's important that athletes have a discussion with Rottefella, so we make the best equipment.
Well, I think that Rottefella, they do new inventions on their bindings, and what they are good at is to let the athletes test it. So the athletes get known to the equipment, and they are always looking for new ways of making the bindings so that they can be better for the athletes.
A good binding is a stable binding, and a stable binding means better balance on each foot in each stride. So that's really important to be a fast cross-country skier.
Because if it is wrong, it can affect your technique. So the communication we have together with the Rottefella to make the best binding, it's really important. And it's always development in the sport.
We make small prototypes and test them at once. You can test them on the floor where you work, but the actual tests on snow is incredible, especially when something works like you planned. So we do ski a lot, and we try and incorporate that into our working schedule.
I think that being outdoors, it's a part of who I am. You know, the Norwegian expression that Norwegians are born with the skis on. I think that in my case, the Rottefella bindings were already mounted. So that's what I've been using always. We cross-country ski in our everyday life as a training form. It's a beautiful way to ski and train. But the backcountry skiing makes us see things that not everybody else see, and it has a lot of opportunities. Being outdoors lets you disconnect from the world or from the internet, from push notifications, and get rid of all the noise and breathe the crisp air and let the mind flow. Yeah, clear thoughts, and that's beautiful.
My relationship to telemark is, it's basically been my life since I was about 14 years old, when I read a book and learned how to telemark ski. And then for the last 20 years, it's been more or less my career. When I first got on the NTN binding, what was interesting is that the technique required was less in some ways. It helped so much more. You had more lateral stability. In a lot of ways, it helped, I think, a lot of people get into telemark and have the ability to telemark without having to learn the technique as well. When you think that a company that's been around since the 1920s to now, Rottefella is there the entire time and really pushing kind of how the bindings looked and feel. And I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind when you think about how telemark bindings have been innovated over the years.
Since we're a small independent company, it's really important for us to stay ahead in the development part. So we try to be in the lead of all new technologies. And that's how we survived so far, and that's how we will survive in the future. I think our biggest challenge is probably too many ideas. So right now we have a bright future.
We have something up our sleeve that will revolutionize the sport of cross-country skiing. Big innovations.